Hello everybody, my name is Cliff Robbins. I'm the Program Manager for Education and Research at the Sports Legacy Institute, and this is Series 4 of the One Voice webinar series, What Are We Doing to Educate Concussion in Kids? My talk today is Concussion Education, a Community Approach, and the focus question here is in the next 3 to 5 years, what do we need to do to help children with concussion do the things they need, want, and love to do? First, a little bit of background about myself. I'm with the Sports Legacy Institute. We are a concussion advocacy nonprofit based in Boston, Massachusetts. We were founded in 2007 by former Harvard football player Chris Nowinski and concussion expert Dr. Robert Cantu. Here I am on the left. Our mission is to solve the concussion crisis. We have 3 avenues by which we work to accomplish this. First, we are a large supporter of research on concussion and the long-term consequences of brain trauma. In partnership with Boston University and the VA here in the United States, we co-founded the first and currently largest CTE-focused brain bank with over 150 confirmed cases. We also work to translate our research findings and the findings of other groups into meaningful policy changes aimed at preventing concussions. In response to research revealing the number of head impacts that occur during football practices relative to games, we were heavily involved with instituting limits to off-season hitting in football from the professional to the high school level, preventing numerous concussions. We've also recently helped drive the adoption of accuracy standards for commercially available helmet impact sensors. Our third area is education, where we focus on teaching a variety of stakeholders, including medical professionals, coaches, and athletes about preventing and managing concussions and their consequences. We've educated over tens of thousands of individuals with a variety of programs. Today, I'd like to focus on our athlete education program, Sports Legacy Institute Community Educators, or SLICE program. The program has been operating in the United States since 2009, and we've educated over 15,000 students grades 4 through 12. In Canada, we currently have 1 active chapter at Wilfrid Laurier University and 2 pending chapters at Western University and McGill, which we hope to have educating kids next fall. The curriculum is an interactive 30-minute presentation that focuses on 3 modules. First, we discuss what a concussion is, focusing on the mechanics, symptoms, and difficulties that we face when identifying these injuries. We then go on to discuss why kids should care about concussions by discussing the short and long-term consequences of mismanaged injury using case studies of high school and professional athletes. Finally, we talk about what kids can do if they think that they or a friend has suffered a concussion by prompting them to self-generate strategies for management. The SLICE program is structured as a trainer-trains-the-trainer model. Volunteer groups, most often a faculty member with interested students, contact us to participate in the program. We develop and maintain the curriculum and then distribute it to these interested chapters. We provide the chapters with training, curriculum, and all the materials they need to deliver the presentation. Then they work within their communities to connect with schools, athletic groups, and community centers to find audiences to present the program to. The goal of the program is to empower motivated volunteers to provide up-to-date and engaging concussion education within their communities. We found our approach to be very effective. In a study of 400 middle and high school students, we found significant increases on a concussion knowledge quiz administered before and immediately after the presentation. We also conducted a follow-up study recently that we presented at the annual Neurotrauma Society meeting in 2014 with a different group of students and replicated that finding. Additionally, we found that these knowledge gains held at 1-month follow-up without any kind of reinforcing lessons. One reason that our curriculum is so effective is because of how it's structured. In development, we took an evidence-based approach and consulted several bodies of educational and behavioral theory literature. we adopted a peer-to-peer or near-peer approach by having college students present to the children as opposed to authority figures. This also allows us to benefit from the advantages in terms of engagement that come with an in-person educational model as opposed to an online or written program. We also endeavor to make these concepts concrete, which can be difficult for younger kids to understand, by using interactive games and relatable anecdotes featuring both prominent athletes that they recognize as well as young athletes that they can demographically relate to. We also focus on a range of consequences. Though our research is primarily focused on the long-term consequences, we know from the smoking cessation literature that just focusing on long-term consequences is not an effective motivator of behavior. So we talk about the short term, including acute symptoms and performance deficits associated with concussion, as well as things in the middle term like post-concussive syndrome and second impact syndrome, and the long term such as chronic traumatic encephalopathy. One major barrier to community-based education is distribution. If we look back at our schematic here, the problem lies in our ability for the volunteers to connect within their community in a resource-efficient manner. In solving our distribution problems, we need to make sure that we aren't wasting time reinventing the wheel. The grassroots approach allows for a much more customized and community-relevant education, but it's very resource-intensive. We need to identify and collaborate with organizations that have distribution infrastructure already in place to systematically provide education. By finding these types of collaborations, we make it easy for our educators to focus on their strengths and capitalize on community enthusiasm. As facilitators, we need to seek out and realize these opportunities when they arise. Productive collaborations for us in the past have included school districts such as the Boston Public Schools, athletic governing bodies such as USA Hockey, and large community organizations such as the Chicago Park District. Another barrier that we face as educators is focusing on what exactly we're teaching. The theory of planned behavior tells us that attitudes and perceived cultural norms are a better predictor of behavior than knowledge. And while our program and other programs are effective at increasing knowledge, knowledge does not equal attitudes, and knowledge does not translate as well to behavior as we would hope. We need to continue to develop our strategies and start addressing the perceived cultural norms surrounding concussion so we can really begin to shift athletes' concussion reporting behavior. I'm hoping that at the symposium, we can strategize to identify organizations and stakeholder groups that are interested in promoting a community-based concussion education program. I also hope we can find ways to identify volunteer groups that are interested in providing this concussion education. I'd like to thank you all for your time, and I look forward to seeing you all in June.